Hello and welcome to Elecspo and welcome to attempt number 2 of our locking 25 Wonderkids at one club for 20 years experiment. Christ, that is a mouthful. If you saw last week, or might have been the week before, I did a video where I sent 25 of the best Wonderkids on Football Manager 2022 and I sent all of them to Southend United in the National League and I locked them there for 20 years. The idea was to take them all the way to the Premier League and challenge for Premier League and European glory. But with a little financial snag, things didn't go quite as well. But this time we've got attempt number 2 and I have made some vital changes. Let's dive into the simulation, let's see the changes I've made and let's see if attempt number 2 can take Southend United and a team of Wonderkids all the way to the top of the footballing ladder. Let's go. Okay, here we are at the start of the simulation, the 5th of July 2021, and you'll notice straight away that I haven't made one change. I haven't changed the manager. I have still left Kevin Meyer, or however you pronounce it, I have still left him in charge at Roots Hall. He is still the Southend United manager. But here's our squad of players, our 25 players, all of which ranging from the ages of 16 all the way to 21. Phil Foden and Sven Botman, the elder statesman of this team, and Yusuf Makoko is the absolute baby at 16 years old. Now the changes I have made, you will notice there, Yusuf Makoko, he is down as English, so is Elecspo. Wesley Fofana is English. I've made a few of these players English just to ensure we have no issues with work permits into the future. You might remember in part 1 that both Wesley Fofana and Yusuf Makoko didn't play a single game for about 18 years. It was absolutely appalling, to be honest. It was bordering on cruelty. Well, it wasn't bordering on it, it was cruel. They weren't allowed to do their jobs, for goodness sake, and they had to stay there. The other big issue we had were the wages. We saw Ansu Fati end up earning a whopping £7 million a week, and that is because I noticed a clause in his contract that states he has a yearly wage rise of 25%, and he was already on big money because what I did at the wages didn't work. I haven't been able to take that clause out, but it's okay, it's not going to get too big because I've made sure that Ansu Fati and every other player at Southend United is only earning £1,000 a week. They're all earning £1,000 a week, so that's 25 grand a week going out of the club on wages, and I've also given Southend United a little bit more money in the bank. That's Mason Greenwood, that's not what I'm looking for. Southend United, where are we, boys? There we are. We'll look at the club details. I put an extra note on the finances. I think I did anyway. Either way, they've got more than enough money to deal with the new influx of players coming into the club. I've also made a change to the facilities. I have boosted the training facilities and the youth facilities to 17. I haven't made them elite, I haven't given them 20 out of 20, but 17 out of 20 is still pretty good and should give them a much better chance in the Football League. They should be able to climb the divisions with ease like they did last time, but hopefully without the financial issues that hindered them in attempt 1. We're not going to do part 1, part 2, part 3 this time. We're just going to do one whole part where we look at the whole 20 years of this experiment. We're going to go 5 years at a time. We'll go 5 years in the future, then another 5, then another 5, then a final 5 to take us all the way to 2041 when little Phil Foden will be 41 years old, or years young if you like. He'll be quite old, to be honest with you. Last time the best we did, we got into the top half of the Premier League, but the only major trophy they won, well, they didn't win a major trophy, all they did was win the Papa John's trophy. So hopefully things will change this time in attempt number 2. But how will we get on? Let's go 5 years into the future to 2026. Okay, here we are 5 years into the future, the 11th of June 2026. We are in the English Premier League, and as you can see, Southend United have already made it all the way to the top flight. In 2026, they have just finished 12th in the Premier League, with Erling Haaland getting a huge 19 goals. Right, I don't know if you can hear this on my microphone, but there's a house over the back of me which is doing some insane drilling, and it's really loud, and I can't tell them to stop, can I? That would be rude. We're just going to have to crack on. If you can hear it, it's annoying, I'm very sorry. But let's focus on the matter in hand, and that is Southend United, still managed by Kevin Meyer, Haaland the captain, Tanguy Nianzou the vice captain. I'm going to go straight to the landmarks and see if there's been any financial woes, and there hasn't. That is beautiful to see. In 2022, National League champions. They also won the English FA Trophy. The youth category went up. In 2023, promotion from League 2, they were the league champions. In 2024, the League 1 champions. It's going perfectly so far, and they did it once again, boys. They have won the Papa John's Trophy. Pizzas all round for Phil Foden, Mason Greenwood, and all of the boys. They joined an illustrious list of past winners. They won it with Sunderland, Wickham won it, Swansea won it. When Southend won it, they beat the Manchester City under-23s in 2024. It's where Phil Foden used to be, and now he got his hands on the trophy he wanted. In 2025, it was another promotion. They won the Sky Bet Championship, and even more important than the Papa John's Trophy, 14th of July 2025. We've only gone and had under-soil heating installed, lads. The pitch is going to be so cosy and warm and toasty, and it means we're not going to be hindered by snow. Beautiful. You absolutely love to see it. It has been a meteoric rise for Southend United, and there have been no financial woes other than the transfer ban, but that's fine. That was self-inflicted. I did that myself. Every season they have came top of the league, and in their first season in the top flight of English football, they have came 12th. I'm going to have a look at the... Is it worth looking at the tables from years gone by? I mean, we know they came top, but I kind of want to say they did invincible seasons. So let's do that now. Let's see if they've done invincible seasons to make it all the way to the top. So in the National League in the first season, they got 130 points, nearly a maximum number of points. They only drew one game all season, and that was at home to Wrexham. They won 43 out of 44 and absolutely walked promotion. In League 2, it was a similar story, 120 points to end the season as champions, 40 points clear of Carlisle, who came second, but they weren't invincible. They lost 2 games in that season, losing to Forest Green and Northampton, but still a great season. What about League 1? They were the champions once again, well clear of Sunderland, 30 points no less, but they did lose 2 games. They lost to Burton and Preston, but still over 3 years, to have only lost 4 league games is mightily impressive. What about the championship? Obviously the standard is increasing, but it should be no problem for these young stars. They did win the league, but not at a canter. They were only 7 points clear of Derby, who finished 4th. Southend got 92 points, 2 ahead of Blackburn, who came second. Southend lost 6 games all season, more than they've lost in the entirety of the past 3 seasons combined, but it doesn't matter because now they're in the Premier League and they have came 12th. Let's check the competitions out. There's no mention of the FA Cup or the League Cup, so they haven't reached a final, which is disappointing, but let's have a little look at the players, and we've got no work permit problems. That means Wesley Fofana and Youssoufa Moukoko are allowed to play football as much as they desire. I mean, it hasn't been that much. Youssoufa Moukoko hasn't started a single game in 2026. But Wesley Fofana has 41 starts in all competitions. The star player at the team is Erling Haaland, the captain, 22 goals. He was the only player to hit double figures, but a few came close. We had Pedri, Fati, Musiala and Bukayo Saka all getting 8 goals in all competitions. Disappointing there from Mason Greenwood, only 5 goals. Didn't start a single game. Phil Foden, 34 starts, 8 assists. It's alright. No player hit double figures for assists. The 3 most creative players were Pedri, Jamal Musiala and Phil Foden, who's not been playing at all. Sven Botman hasn't had a kick, neither has Yusuf Demir. That's really woeful. Mason Greenwood didn't get a start, Julian Timber didn't get a start, and neither did little old Youssoufa Moukoko. The players now, they're coming into their prime really. I mean, Sven Botman at 26 there, Phil Foden 26, Haaland 25. They're at a great age to still be kicking on. Let's have a little look at Erling Haaland. His numbers have been exceptional. 29 in the National League, 25 in League 2, 28 in League 1, 27 in the Championship, and now 19 in the Premier League. Astonishing numbers from Erling Haaland. Has anyone else really matched him? Phil Foden, what's he done? Well, his best season came in non-league. I mean, that's not really a surprise considering the calibre of opponents he was up against, but still a strong average rating from Phil Foden in the Premier League. Now, how much money is Ansu Fati getting? It's going fine, lads. He's only on £2,900 a week, which is nowhere near $1 million. So that's good. That means the financial woes aren't going to persist in this experiment. So now Southend United are in the Premier League. They've done well in their first season. They've came 12th, and they should be well placed to now climb the table, get into the top half, and hopefully, fingers crossed, challenge for the title. But will they be able to do that in 5 years? Let's go to 2031. That'll have been 10 years of this experiment. Let's see where Southend United are in 2031. Let's go. Okay, here we are, 2031, another 5 years into the future. The good news is Southend United are still a Premier League club, and most importantly, they are a Champions League club, and they have just missed out on the Premier League title. Only 2 points, wow, 2 points separated the top four. Southend getting 79 points, one behind Man United and the champions Manchester City. Southend beat Tottenham on the final day 3-2. I mean, Tottenham could have won this title if they'd won that game on the final day, but it was Southend who won it, propelled by the goals of Erling Haaland, 22 in the Premier League. And Southend United have qualified for next season's Champions League, but have they won a title yet? They haven't. This has been their best finish yet. We left things in 2026 when they came 12th. And you can see here, this is the first time that they finished in the top 3. Let's have a little look at the seasons gone by and see where they have came. So 2026, as we say, they came 12th. Then they improved in their second season, made it into the Europa League, coming 6th. That was a good season, 60 points on the board. The next season, they dropped off. They came 9th, no European football. That's a massive disappointment. 2029, they recovered, made it into the Champions League for the first time ever. It's something they didn't do in attempt 1 of this simulation, but they have done it here in 2029, coming 4th. In 2030, they dropped off massively, coming 11th, not even finishing the top half woefully. But in 2031, they have recovered, and they have just been within a point of the Premier League title. They've still got Kevin Meyer as the manager, which is that's nice. How have they got on in the Champions League in years gone by? We'll have a look at the Europa Leagues first, sorry. In 2028 they were in there, and they made it through the group stages. They played Benfica, where they were knocked out in the second knockout round straight away, so that's pretty disappointing. 2029-2030 was their first Champions League campaign. They were in a group alongside Inter, Borussia Dortmund and Sporting, which is quite difficult to be fair, but they were playing a Dortmund side that didn't have Erling Haaland, Jude Bellingham, Youssef Moukoko or Giovanni Reina. So I mean, you've taken 4 of their best young stars and arguably 2 of their best players out of the team. Did they make it through the group? They didn't. They went into the Europa League. They played Bruges. They won 5-0. Then they played Valencia. They won 5-4. Very tight. Then they got to the quarters where they were beaten by Juventus 3-2 on aggregate. They also had FA Cup semi-final heartache. And it looks like there has been no more cup progress for Southend United. We look at the landmarks. Since the undersoil heating has been installed, all we've had is a stadium increase to 15,000 and a new chairperson. No mention of any competitions. Still no wins in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. Their biggest honour remains, well, it's either the Papa John's in 2024, the Sky Bet Championship in 2025, or the undersoil heating. They have came 3rd in the Premier League though this season, and I'm going to have a little look at the schedule and see where perhaps they have slipped off. Man City and Man United finished above them, but they beat Man City when they first met, and they beat Man United as well at Roots Hall. What about in the reverse fixtures? They lost to Man City there at the Etihad. And against Man United, if I can see it, how did they get on in the first game? Why can't I see this game? They drew 2-2. It was on the first game of the season, sorry. So perhaps if it hadn't been for that last minute equaliser, the 89th minute equaliser from Angel Alcaron, perhaps Southend United would be Premier League champions right now. Instead, they have finished 3rd, which is still really good to be honest, and a lot better than we've done in the past. The players, a lot of them should be at the peak of their powers Coming in between 28 and 31, the youngest of there, Yusuf Makoko, 26, Jude Bellingham at 27, still got a long way to go. But a lot of these players, the next few years is going to be crucial. They've came within a whisker of being named Premier League champions. They've also had a taste of Champions League football. Things are going well, but they need to get even better. Erling Haaland, once again, the top goal scorer, 25 goals. The best player at the club as well, ahead of Jamal Musiala, who was the only other player to hit double figures. He got 12. Phil Foden and Pedri, though, they've done well as well. Good to see Wesley Fofana performing since he was, not allowed to kick a ball in attempt 1. But a lot of players there excelling in a Southend United shirt. They ended the season with this starting 11. It looks like it's in the starting 11 that's played most of the season. Van der Voort in goals, Tino Livramento right back, Alphonso Davies left back, Fofana and Gvardiol centre backs, Jude Bellingham at the base of midfield, then in front of him Pedri and Phil Foden. That is a beautiful midfield three. And then in attack, Jamal Musiala, Ansu Fati and Erling Haaland. Tanguy Nianzou, he's played a lot of football as well. Another option at the heart of defence. But that appears to have been the main starting 11 for Southend United. And there's still a lot of players who aren't getting a kick. Mainly Yusuf Makoko. I mean, even though he's got a work permit now and he's allowed to play football, he still isn't playing. He actually hasn't played in the Premier League since the 2027 campaign. Despite being one of the most sought after Wonderkids in world football today, it's not really working out for him at Southend United on Football Manager 2022. I'm going to have a little look at Pedri there at 28 years old. He's been exceptional. I wonder if players are playing a bit more international football as well. Let's have a little look at Livramento. He's got 11 caps for England. He was a player in the first part who didn't feature at all for the Three Lions, which normally happens on Football Manager. Jude Bellingham there, he's got 70 caps for England. Named as one of England's top players. So is Erling Haaland. I made him English just because I could really, and he's there in the England squad. They've also got Phil Foden, Wesley Fofana's in there. I mean, I know these guys, some of these guys aren't English, but I mean, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things here, does it? It just helps Southend United when they're doing the squads, because you've got to have so many English players in your team and whatnot. But they have finished third in the Premier League. These next 5 years are going to be pivotal, and that's where things, if we're going to have any success, it's going to happen in the next 5 years. But will it happen? Let's go to 2036 and let's find out. Right, here we are, 2036, another 5 years into the future, 15 years of this experiment. Southend still in the Premier League, but they're just clinging for survival, to be honest with you. 5 points clear of the relegation zone in 2036. They came 15th in the league with 42 points, but are they a past winner of the Premier League? They are not. Things never improved after that third place finish where they narrowly missed out on the title. Over the past 5 years, Tottenham, Man City and Man United have been the Premier League champions, with Liverpool pulling up the rear. Let's have a little look at the table over the past few years. So 2031 was where they came third. The season after, they dropped off straight away actually. They came 13th in 2032, 2033. They improved, but they were only 8th. They didn't get into the Champions League. 2034, back down to 11th. 2035, 10th. It's mid-table obscurity now. And in 2036, the most recent season, they have came 15th in the Premier League. But they're now managed by Zinedine Zidane. Kevin Meyer was sacked in 2035 after 4 league wins, 2 cups, but he didn't deliver an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup or a European trophy. And now Zinedine Zidane is the manager, tasked with taking this former team of Wonderkids, who are quite old now to be honest with you, taking them to maybe to the top, but not, I don't know. 31's the youngest player, 36 is the oldest. And you can see from the selection info that performances have really dropped. I mean, still 3 players there getting above a 7.2 is pretty good. Pedri, Alphonso Davies and Jude Bellingham. But Erling Haaland's not scoring as many goals. Goals seem to have really dried up for Southend United in 2036. Some players still aren't featuring at all. Harvey Elliott, I mean, I've never even mentioned him at all during this simulation. Camavinga, he's another one who's had a torrid time since moving to Southend United. I mean, his best season there, 15 appearances. No, sorry, 23 in the Premier League, 25 in the Championship. He's been absolute garbage, which is quite surprising considering, I mean, the lad plays for Real Madrid nowadays. The morale's low. Only Erling Haaland's having a good time. There's a few players who are okay. The rest are fair and fairly okay, which isn't... It's not the most buzzing place to be in world football. This team of Wonderkids, again, have not delivered. Let's go to the landmarks. They've got a new stadium which holds just shy of 30,000 people, but I mean, those people are going to be disappointed because still, we've had no cup success from Southend United. How did they get on in the Champions League? The last season they qualified. I mean, that was the last time they actually played in Europe. We're having a lot of testimonials for people because obviously they've been there for bloody ages. But 2031-32 was the last time they were in Europe. They were in a group with Roma, Bayern and PSG, a pretty tough group. And a group they did make it through. They made it to the first knockout round where they played Real Madrid, but they got spanked. They got the pants pulled down and they got smacked all over. 5-2 on aggregate, losing 3-0 at Roots Hall. So that is woefully disappointing. FA Cup, they made it to a semi-final. But that's still not good enough. Next season, Carabao Cup, they didn't get past the quarters. FA Cup, they were beaten straight away. Season after, Carabao Cup disappointment early on. FA Cup, 5th round. This is shocking. It's just getting worse and worse season after season. The most recent campaign, how have we done? 4th round of the Carabao and the 5th round of the FA Cup. So many more defeats here. These ageing players, even though they've got great training facilities and money hasn't been a problem. I mean, unless they need to be motivated by money and earning £100,000 a week just to score a few goals. I mean, it's all gone so wrong. These pivotal few years for Southend United's Wonderkids has gone Pete Tong. And now they're clinging on for Premier League survival. When we end this simulation in 2041, I'm not even sure this team will still be in the Premier League. They didn't get relegated in attempt 1, but maybe it will happen in attempt number 2. But let's find out now. Let's go to 2041. Right, here we are, the 7th of June 2041, the end of the 20-year experiment, and it ends in disappointment with Southend United rock bottom of the Premier League. They have been relegated with just 24 points. The no longer Wonderkids, the ageing veterans nowadays, have been relegated. Their time at Southend United ends in disgrace with Jonathan Hogg, the manager. They've had so many managers. Jesus Christ, they've had a lot of managers over the past 5 years. Zidane got the sack. He was replaced by Pochettino. He was sacked after less than a year. In came Steven Gerrard. He only lasted just over a year. He was sacked. Then came Eddie Howe. He left. Then it was Arne Slot. Then it was Yuri Tielemans. Now it's Jonathan Hogg. And Southend United have been relegated. Over the past few years, they've just regressed. 2037 they came 13th, then it was 15th, 15th, 15th again in 2040, and now rock bottom of the Premier League. The star player, Jude Bellingham with a 7.18, then it's Tanguy Nianzou and Ansu Fati. Only 9 goals from Erling Haaland. Absolutely atrocious from this ageing bunch of veterans who wouldn't look out of place in a pub team. The ages range between, well, and ignore them because they've just came through the youth system, 36 and 41. And that's probably why Southend United are being relegated. I mean, look at the state of that. They didn't win a game all season until the 19th of December. They're as bad as Newcastle are this season. They beat Fulham, they beat Southampton, they beat Palace. They did get a win against Chelsea. And that was about as good as it got all season. A goal from Haaland, a goal from Bellingham, and they did play against 10 men for most of the game. but that was the only high point in the final season for Southend United. The youth category went up, the youth facilities were improved, but they've been relegated. And they still didn't win a single trophy. 40 years of the best young players Football Manager has to offer. The closest they came was in 2031 when they came third in the Premier League. A point, one single point off the title. If they got an extra point or two, things could have been oh so different. But instead from there, they've gone backwards, they've regressed. And this simulation ends with Southend United coming 20th in the Premier League and being relegated to the Championship. All of these players are about to leave Southend United, and they should leave with their heads hanging low in disappointment. They haven't been hamstrung by financial woes, they've had good training facilities, they've even ended up having good managers. And Ansu Fati is only earning 83 grand a week, which for a Premier League player, it's not that much, let's be honest. I mean, it's more than me and you are earning, but still, Jesus Christ, lads. This attempt number 2, while it showed promise halfway through, ends in heartache for Southend United. Can a team of 25 Wonderkids win the Premier League? No, but they nearly can. We will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Elecspo. And until next time, we will see you around.